Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. Today, or really late this afternoon, we're going to make a peach cobbler, and it's going to be a big peach cobbler, and I'm going to freeze parts of it. So we're ready to get started. The first thing we're going to do is make the crust. Now this is similar to a 2-crust pie crust, so it's very close to that same recipe. So I'm using a half a cup of butter and a half a cup of Crisco shortening. Now I cut the butter up into little squares. 2 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour. Oops. 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Water. And an egg. Now this is a large egg. What I'm going to do is add, this is about a half a cup of water, and I don't think I'll need that much, so I'm going to pour about half of it in with the egg, leave the rest, see what I need, because flour is all different. Sometimes, you know, 1/4 of a cup is enough, and sometimes you need a half a cup. So I'm going to beat that egg in with the water. Alright, now we're ready to mix the flour in, and I'm going to use my hands for this. And this is the going to be the crust for the peach cobbler. Put most of my flour in right to start with, and just squish everything up together. We want it to get about the size of a large pea, really. And I did use ice water by just catching the water and then adding some ice to it, so the water is super cold, and of course the egg is cold. Now I'm using some of my frozen peaches for the cobbler, but I'll tell you how much that you can use if you're using canned peaches. Of course, the frozen fresh are better, but obviously it would be too expensive probably to buy frozen ones in the store. It'd be a lot less expensive to buy them in the can. And there's not a whole lot of difference in the taste, I don't think. Because the ones that are frozen fresh, and once you start cooking them in the oven, I mean, they're real similar to the canned ones. Alright, I went ahead and added all of my flour, and that's 2 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup butter, 1/2 cup of Crisco, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg, and about 1/4 of a cup of water is what we're starting out with, and you do want to mix that with your egg. Alright, we are ready to add in our egg now, and water mixture. And what you're looking for is for this crust to all come together in one big lump. You want to do it just as quick as you can. Alright, and we're definitely not going to need any more water than this. In fact, I'm going to need a little more flour because this is a little too wet. So I'm just going to dump some more all-purpose flour in there. Not much, but maybe, I don't know, looks like about a half a cup more. That's what did it, and I'll add that to that recipe. You really need about 3 cups of flour or a little more. Alright, so just kind of knead it over a little bit. Alright, we got slinging dough everywhere. Alright, now I'm going to roll this out try to roll it out about 14 inches wide and maybe 18 inches long. So I've already got some saran wrap on my little stove top here. We'll sprinkle some flour on it because this is a little bit wetter batter. And probably the reason for that is I think that was probably an extra large egg. Alright, so we're going to mash that out with our fingers and try to keep it in somewhat of an oblong shape. Alright, a little more flour right on top. Now we're ready to start rolling this out. I'm going to have to wash my hands, so we'll be right back. Okay, I have got 2 more sheets of saran wrap on top of the dough. Got my area cleaned up a little bit. So I want this thing at least 14 inches wide and 18 inches long. So I'm going to have to get my little tape measure out. I have to keep this in my kitchen for just such a time as this. Alright, and 18 inches long. Alright, we've got a ways to go here. Alright, now we need to get it longer. It just makes it a lot easier when you use the saran wrap. It's a little more difficult to roll one out for a square pan than it is for a round pan, or at least I think it is. Let's see if I can get this corner down here. And this one. Now this recipe can be used for any fruit of your choosing. So you could make a blueberry cobbler, an apple cobbler, peach, of course, which is what we're making. You could even make a plum cobbler. I've made those before. They're pretty good. It does take a lot of sugar, though, for plums because they're usually sour. Now, my peaches I froze in July, and I freeze them by rolling them, or just putting a lot of sugar on, rolling them literally in sugar. Let me patch this up a little bit here. Alright, let's see where we are now. Okay, there are my peaches. I'm just going to sit that down there. Actually cut around that crust so it fits perfectly. I want it to overlap a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'm going to take that off. Take a little bit off over here. So this is really a recipe for a 2-crust pie. That's what it is. So that's why I have some left. Alright, that looks okay. Alright, move this pan off and we're about ready to get started on the filling. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit to this corner over here with what I had left. And I think we'll be ready. Now the egg in it is what makes this a lot easier to roll out. A lot easier. Alright, I'm going to pick this up and set it aside. Alright, y'all, hold on. Alright, so here's the peach filling. Now, the sugar that I roll the peaches in when they're fresh causes a lot of the juice to run out of the peaches. So we've got plenty of juice in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and add, this is 1 stick of melted butter, or half a cup. Just going to put that in there right now. I can find my spatula. of that butter right in there. Just stir that around, and the peaches are still cold, so that butter is going to go back to a hard state, but at least it's spread out good. All right, next, I've got half a cup of flour, half a cup of sugar. I'm going to add right on top of the sugar a fourth of a teaspoon of nutmeg, fourth of a teaspoon of allspice, half a teaspoon, that's 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now you can adjust these spices however you'd like. I'm just going to mix that up. I'm mixing the flour and the sugar together so it kind of gets some of the lumps out of that flour, because I'm actually just going to put this right on and mix it right in with those peaches. And this is to cause some thickening, in all that syrup from the peaches, because the peaches are going to get even more watery once they start cooking. All right, we're ready. All right. And one other little thing I like to add, this is about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And I'm just going to kind of sprinkle that in right on top of the butter and the peaches. All right, now we're ready. Take this flour and sugar mixture and just put it all over it. Now if you're using the canned peaches, you're going to also have a lot of juice, and so you'll still need, the flour and really the sugar too, probably. All right, so we're just going to mix that all in. And it doesn't matter if some of it's got lumps or whatever, because once this cooks, all those lumps will just disappear. All right, let's see, it's already thickening up. All right, looks kind of messy, but it'll turn out good, real good. All right. Now we're ready to put our top crust on. This is a little tricky, but it's doable. All right, get some of that flour up. All right, we're ready now. Now I've had my crust sitting over here to the side. I'm taking the top layer of saran wrap off of it. Now I'm just going to take it. Now you don't get but one chance at this. I'm just going to take it and position it right over the pan. So if you don't get it right, you have to just kind of leave it. Put down a little bit. All right, now we're going to take the rest of the saran wrap off. Now the crust is going to be very delicate, and you could put it in the refrigerator, but I choose not to do that. All right, now I want my crust, I'm just going to kind of pinch it a little bit here on the sides, because I really, really like that little crispy crust on my cobblers. In fact, I always think that's the best part. Just kind of turn it under, and back up again. Now, some of the spilling is probably going to run out, and if it does, it's not going to matter, because it's still going to be good. Might not be as pretty if it does that, but it'll still be good. So I like to just mash it up against the side. See, we've already got some running out right down there. We'll fill that in with a little bit of that crust. Just mash it down. Now, you're going to need to put some little vents in it. And what I usually do is just stick the knife in and go back and forth. Now, this is going to bake 375 degrees for really about an hour. But you will need to watch it, and because you're not sure how long it's going to take, depending on if you use fresh peaches or frozen peaches or whatever. Alright, now we could make this a little prettier, but to me it doesn't make any difference because it's all going to be brown on top and delicious. Alright, we're going to put this in the oven. When all this gets done, we'll be back. Okay, here's our peach cobbler. It's all done. It cooked for about an hour. And you see some of the little juice ran up on the side there. Of course, that's my favorite part there in the corner with all that crispy crust. Alright, we're going to let this cool and we will be back in a few minutes and show you what it looks like dished up. I'll give you one more shot of this after I took it out of the oven. It's going to definitely take it a while to cool. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, we are ready to eat some of the peach cobbler. And I wanted to show, whoops, ice cream sliding off. It's still warm. Anyway, there it is. And here is the Aldi's brand ice cream. It is absolutely delicious. And look at that. It's all natural. It certainly can compete with any name brand ice cream. And it was only $2.69. Okay, alright. So again, here's the peach cobbler. Hope y'all will try this. It makes a great dessert to take for a family gathering too. Alright, we will see y'all next time.